Playing the long game, that's the focus of tonight's angle. The media and most of the Democrats, did you sense what I sensed? They were in a better mood today. Why? Because the stock market went down by more than 1,000 points.
Dow, NASDAQ, all down. Apple down like 20% since Trump's inauguration. Nike down 30% since Trump's inauguration.
Has what's unfolded here fundamentally altered for the worse the foundation of our global financial system?
We are looking at major losses this morning in an incredibly volatile stock market.
Are they secretly rooting for a recession? Either that or they're so consumed by their hatred of Donald Trump and so unconcerned about the fate of the American middle class that they're just incapable of analyzing Trump's long-term plans to reindustrialize the economy and make trade fairer. Today, Trump's message was, everyone just take a breath, calm down, let the process play out.
We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. We allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen. It's not a sustainable formula.
No, it is not. The U.S. will not remain a global superpower with a $36 trillion debt and with more than $1 trillion in annual interest on that debt and growing. And meanwhile, at the same time, let our manufacturing capacity wither to nothing because of horrid trade policies. So when Trump collects new tariffs, what's going to happen with that money? The money will be used wisely.
Paying down national debt, reducing taxes, creating good budgets, helping Christie with the border and all of the other things we built. I built hundreds of miles of wall, as people now understand, but we're going to beef it up and we're going to add more.
Building a strong border. Yeah, check that off the list. He's on it, and the tariffs will help pay for it. Now, watching President Trump take questions from the press for an hour during his cabinet meeting today, I thought to myself, how did we survive 4 years of Joe Biden when cabinet meetings usually turned out like this?
All right. Well, good afternoon. This could have been the week that catastrophic default happened, putting millions of people's jobs in jeopardy. But, well, good morning. I guess it's still morning, isn't it? Yep.
And let's not forget when White House staff that had been covering up Biden's mental decline brought in Jill to change the story.
It's time to write a new story of healthcare in this country, one where women get the answers we need, where the United States continues to be home to the most cutting-edge research in the world, and where everyone can lead healthier lives. Thank you.
And then there was the old clap, then whisk the press out of the room trick.
Thank you, press. Thank you so much for making your way out. Thank you, press.
Please don't let him answer any questions. Please don't, Lance. But now we have an administration that's actually keeping its eye on the prize and a president capable of doing that, of restoring American independence in the middle class. And Trump is not letting anyone rattle him from day-to-day changes in the Dow. He's proceeding methodically, yet flexibly, while working on key priorities. And today, we heard the good news on the Panama Canal.
A framework for U.S. vessels, first and free, through the Panama Canal. Right. And then also a memorandum of understanding with their security minister for the presence of U.S. troops jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out.
And part of Trump's success with these trade deals will include getting other countries on the same page on the China trap. Today's India's commerce minister sounded downright Trumpian.
This growth was fueled by unfair trade practices, happened at the cost of fair play. Large parts of the world got carried into the narrative of low-cost manufacturing, low-cost goods coming from one particular geography, but did not realize the long-term impact that it would have at the global stage.
Bingo. And another positive sign for Trump and his approach, the 10 countries that make up the ASEAN bloc of nations are also seeing the light, putting out a statement saying that they were, quote, united in the opinion that tariff retaliation is not an option. Even the pro-China New York Times had to admit that these nations, with their combined $228 billion trade surplus with the United States, don't have many cards to play against the administration. Thailand's finance minister said, quote, we may have to comply. So Trump's plan here is going to take some time, but it's working. However, the press, of course, so predictable, they just seize on market gyrations. Of course, the other win for America today was falling inflation, down more than expected in March, which is good news across the board for consumers. That, along with the jobs report from March, gives us just a taste of what's yet to come once these tariff talks are settled. And speaking of settled, Trump got his party to settle their differences in his budget framework. The House squeaked it through, and this paves the way for tax relief and more spending cuts, which need to happen, and well above $1 trillion needs to happen. So if Republicans can deliver this without budget gimmicks, this will be another huge win for Trump and for America. And then Doge's savings. Well, they're estimated to be also big, and they're coming in. A dozen federal buildings have already been sold off, with $20 billion saved in deferred maintenance, with many others set for sale. Look, every dollar counts, but not to the Democrats, who are still crying foul. Despite all their talk for wanting to cut wasteful spending, they're fine with wasting taxpayer money on vacant, useless buildings because for them, the bureaucracy is sacred. It's like a house of worship. And Trump's fighting, of course, through all the lawfare, and for the most part, he's winning. In two major cases, the Supreme Court has voted with Trump's broad exercise of executive authority. In one, the justices slapped down forum shopping and that challenge to Trump's deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, ruling that the statute may be used, but the illegals need some type of hearing. Fine. And another ruling, the court overturned a district court injunction that stalled the White House's decision to fire thousands of probationary federal workers. Now, that case may be a very good sign regarding Trump's other efforts to shrink the civil service. So the usual suspects are hyperventilating. They're naysaying and they're dismissing President Trump's goals. And they just fulminate endlessly about disruption and chaos. But consider this. Very few of them worried about the disruption that ripped through company towns all across America when they were devastated by globalization.
I'm just kind of shocked.
I can't believe this. After all we gave them, after all we done, and all the money we made them, they dropping a bomb on us like this.
I thought I was going to retire from GM, and it didn't work out that way. So now I have to do something else.
I couldn't see myself going back to school. You know, not after doing this. This has been my life. You know, I'm a factory worker. I'm proud of it.
I have to go out here and reinvent myself at 45 years old. You know, I've got a high school diploma, and this is all I know.
Where was the concern about that disruption and those heartbreaking stories? So Trump here is playing the long game. And those rooting for failure, hoping for a see I told you so moment, are shorting our future. And that's always a bad bet. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.